So the next part of the ship is going to be these parts that go along the middle part of the ship, and they make up certain points. First things first, this point here, this little part, represent the bottom part of the ship because this has the actual support part to hold it up on the base stand. So it doesn't say, it looks pretty much the same all around. I don't see anything that distinguish it from top to bottom, left or right. Again, this is kind of a tower, one of those the core tower thing from the animated series. So I'm just going to put this here, and that's pretty much it. I'm going to, before I glue it on, I want to make sure everything's fine. Also, you notice more little notches here. The little red parts I talked to you about, that goes here as well. But I'm not going to put it on. That's going to be for later. These two side parts here require these. Going nice and smooth with no problems whatsoever. The last part has a notch there, and that is of course to put in the bridge. So make sure that goes in nice and smooth. And the bridge here, you have these two little clear purple parts, and one goes on like that. Then you have this part here that goes up there, followed by this little part that goes here in the back. And then you want to close these two together so they look like this. And then finally put this on like that. Now, I'm a little disappointed. I thought this was going to be a cool little build. This part was going to be cool, but I didn't realize that it has that distinguished, pattern here where you really got to paint it. And I'm just thinking to myself, do I want to invest time into putting masking tape in these whole areas so that way I can paint the whole thing? I'm slowly considering it. Slowly. But let's put this on, see how it looks. There we go. That looks pretty cool, isn't it? So far the ship is coming out nice and smooth. So the last parts of this kit are the wings and antenna and little pointy things of the Deusula. And we're going to start with the bigger wings. These parts here. Now, I was going to glue them, but I want to put them on just for now and then take them off later, because if I begin painting, there's a risk that I may snap off one of these little winglets, kind of like what happened with my last Gamella ship that I worked on. I want to avoid that. So for now, I'm just doing this so you guys can see what it looks like. So we can do a before and after shot. So those large wings goes there. The next parts are these little guys that look like this, and they go here. The actual part where I had to snip off from the tree is actually at this top, so make sure you carefully use a sponge sander to sand them off easily, and so it doesn't have any little things sticking out. There we go. these little parts, which are far more delicate. One goes here. See, this one's, I'm afraid. I'm afraid to break one of these. One goes here. One goes there. And then the other one comes up from above, come under it, and that completes that. The last parts are these little winglets here, which are actually two parts. So this part goes into slides into that, and I use to me extra thin cement to hold it into place. Now there are 3 of these with the wide connector, and a small one, the same thing but with a smaller connector. This, of course, goes up here. I'm not going to push it in all the way. I'm going to leave it the way it is, because then later on I'm going to remove it. And this one goes like that. They're very fragile. Let me take this off. This one goes like that. Yep. And then the last one goes here. There we go. So the second core ship, Deusula, command ship, is now complete. That is a sexy looking ship. Not bad. It's not as big as the Yamato, but it's, you know, good enough. Good detail. It is a lot of very, very good detail all around. And I now have to, let me just take a moment to see how I'm going to tackle this. Clearly, I'm going to remove all the winglets, all the fins and things like that. I'm going to take reversible tape, put it on a board so I can paint them separate. I'm going to remove this and look into the possibility of putting masking tape in there if I so choose. I'll have to look at the manual. This part here needs to be removed as well, and then this is the one thing that I'm a little removing that, the little parts that we put in here, removing this part, and removing the inside. So taking everything off, and then finally using sticky tack, rolling it up, and put it in here. Now, if it doesn't feel right for me to do that, I could probably take the whole thing apart and just remove these, and then put them back on once the whole thing is complete. Now, there's also the possibility that I may paint this either way, because the manual, excuse me, I had the stickers, or excuse me, the actual, well, I had them here, but now I can't find them. I had the actual water slide decals that you can actually put this and the same tone, what do you call that, the orange and red tone that was on the other ships. But since this is all green and the manual and the box art is green, I'm going to leave it the way it is. So let me begin preparing this for painting. So now I'm going to begin priming the core ship with gray primer and microfiller from Alaclad 2. I've already finished priming some other parts that as you can see, I stripped it from some of the parts that I mentioned. For example, this little guy here, which was the core in there. I know, reviewing the manual, I had to prime these areas here and then prime the top here. So this one is done. I already primed all the little wings and things like that. The little vent, it's on the side, in there, and then this. And in a few moments after I'm done with this, I'll work on the red parts. But let me do this. And I just want to let you guys know that I had to clean my airbrush a little bit, make sure it's no particles inside, so that way the primer comes out nice and smooth, which it's doing right now. Something you should be aware of, you should do all the time. I'm done right now, but I'll pass a little bit more. So here's what the kit will look like already primed. There's still a little bit of blue there, which I'll cover up in a minute, and I gotta cover up the back as well. So I'm going to wait until this dries, and then we will begin the next stage.